it's awesome because like I'm happy that we get to support the partner and then also participate. It's just like, it's kind of great in some ways.
What I talked to you about was a workshop and having a pre-recorded section for the mortgage portion. There's some commonly asked questions that we can address.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Mr. Jack.
How's it going? How's it going? Y'all ready to kick this off?
Woohoo!
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So let's get this started with some good vibes. Who's got some bucket fills for us to start off with?
I have a bucket fill.
Yeah, Mehdi, go for it.
I want to thank Clarissa for always being so patient and walk me through things slowly on these Zoom ways where we share screens, and I'm gaining so much valuable insight about technology that's usable. So I'm really excited. I'm finally coming into the 21st century.
Yeah, Mehdi, welcome.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, cool. Let's keep this going. Who else has got a bucket fill? There you go, Nikki. Go for it.
I don't have an hour to thank all you guys for everything that you do, but I'd say it came up on our 8 a.m. and for those of you who missed the 8 a.m., go back and watch it. Just to thank the leadership and the agents for just being the kind of people that they are. It makes me really proud to be part of this market center and having some of the open and candid conversations we need to have to show that we are the ones that are different that are going to teach the rest as a model.
Love it. Well, and that's the whole thing is that, you know, thank you for the acknowledgement, because this really is something that more and more conversations I'm hearing people are saying, like, we're the unicorn of real estate, you know, we're the best kept secret in San Diego. And that means a lot, because I want you guys to really understand what that means to be a part of that, because it's you guys that really create the culture. I mean, it's people like Ashley want to cast the vision, and then you're the ones that are actually implementing that and living it. You know, it's not just, it takes everything from practice into actually living it and creating a lifestyle out of it. So thank you, Nikki, for the acknowledgement. And I'd say the bucket fill goes out to all of you guys that continue to perpetuate that kind of culture. So great job, guys. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Robert Shantz here to give us an update on the launch and growth coaching. Please, Robert.
He's going to be late, Stephen.
Okay. Well, there's some wonderful updates, and we're going to just be on pins and needles until he can hop on, and we'll get that updated. So,
Stephen, I wanted to give a bucket fill.
Yeah, go for it, Melinda.
I don't know if he's on the call or not, but I wanted to give a shout out to Jay Lee. Twice in the last 2 weeks, and that's sometimes people who might not think for the bucket fill, but twice in the last 2 weeks, I needed help with something with Facebook ads. And he has been incredibly generous with his time. He answers his phone, he calls back, and it's been amazing. And when we've been able to develop a relationship and brainstorm a few things, and he's been a fabulous help.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Melinda, for acknowledging Jay. And now, Jay, we'll look out for your text. You're about to get swamped. So, yeah. Pegasus.
I do. Sorry, my whole thing froze and I had to reboot. So I want to say, what an incredible marketplace, as Ashley and Emmerich were talking about, is like, who would do that? I mean, nowhere else. That's number one. Number two, Clarissa. I mean, she gives and gives and gives. She got me a new computer. I mean, I'm so blown away by not only the culture, but the generosity, which is probably the culture, but just the generosity of this office.
To be clear, Clarissa did not buy you a computer.
I was like,
I want one.
I was going to say, I want one too then.
I know. Thanks, Clarissa.
Yeah, Clarissa she bought me time. She bought me time, actually, to not go crazy with command, because I couldn't stand that little old man walking across the street with a cane. Just take it anymore. Anyway, amazing. And then when I go to the office, and even though nobody's there but Drew and Nancy, that's enough for me. They are so amazing to talk about everything that's going on. They're just great. So my bucket fill is for everything to do with Keller Williams San Diego Metro. And Robert's been amazing too with all of his videos. And thank you so much.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you guys for engaging. And we can only provide value if you're raising your hand saying what we need. Downtown Deborah Brown, I see you. I see you waving.
Downtown Deborah Brown, I just said to my husband not about 20 minutes ago, I sat down, looked him in the face, and I said, I could never leave this organization because of everything that's gone on the last 3 months. The support, the love, the outpouring of information. I know people in other market centers here in San Diego that call me with questions that I go, wait a minute. Either they're not reaching out, or they're not getting any of the support and information they need. And so that's my declaration right there. Just want to say thank you to each and every one of you.
We love you, Mama. Thank you for that.
Love you.
I'm just going to do it real fast. I just wanted to say thank you to Justin Brown. You've been crushing my escrows. Thank you so much. It's been super appreciated. And I mean, we're literally closing like 2 to 3 transactions a day right now. So like, he's been doing so good, staying on top of everything and even catching things that I might have missed. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay.
Ooh, nice camaraderie here. All right, so Robert, can you give us an update now on the launch and growth coaching? I thought I saw him.
Yes, thank you, Stephen. Hello, everybody. Glad you're all here today. So a little lacking on some shout outs for people in the growth coaching or the coaching program, but I do want to do some shout outs. I have a couple I wanted to mention. First is really all the agents at KW Metro. I don't know if I want to be in business with anybody other than you guys through this shift. And if this is your first shift, if you've never been in the business since 2010, well, welcome. You've got a really good shift underway. The previous shift was just real estate. This is a worldwide shift in many areas. So I hope you're all doing well. And also, I would never want to be in business with anybody other than our great leadership team. That includes Ashley and Steven and Nancy and Eve and Drew and Ariana and of course, Mark and all of the transaction coordinators in our office that includes the team office, team TCs and team admins. Oh my gosh, have they been overworked and overwhelmed at times and working a lot more than they ever thought they would be this year. 2020 has been a really good year so far for all of us. And then a shout out to everybody on the coaching roster, Clarissa, Barbara, Alicia, Carl, Corey, Vinny. You know, these people, I first got them to stabilize their business. And then in order for them to be able to help you, and they are all rising above the occasion. They are all doing really, 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 really well. So those are my shout outs. Let's go into some broker issues that I've got. This is the #1 question I get asked. Are open houses okay to do? Technically, no, if you call them an open house. And then they'll send me a picture of agents out in the community that are actually doing physical open houses. So what does this mean? Well, I just got off the regional risk management call, and this is actually happening throughout the county. Now, it is CAR's recommendation and guidelines that physical open houses do not exist. However, it is my premise that you can do what's called a scheduled open house, meaning you have a property that you want to show and you want to do scheduled times for people to come in and see that. That is allowed, where you can have, if you follow the guidelines outlined in the best practices and follow everything on that guide, you will be fine. Now, here's what's happened. So you need to be aware of this. There was a case this week that somebody called me, and it was one of our listings, and this listing agent, our listing agent, was showing the property to buyers that were scheduled to show up, and they all signed the P. And so everything was on the up and up. Well, a rather convincing agent just happened to see this list, or one of our listing agents showing the property, and was driving around in the neighborhood and with buyers, and they were convincing enough to let their buyer, they convinced our listing agent enough to let the buyer in. Unfortunately, they did not get a PED sign. Now, here's what happened. There was a Ring doorbell, and the Ring doorbell recorded this and saw it. And the seller was livid because the wife was very, very upset about letting someone in without following the guidelines that our listing agent said they were going to follow. So I need to make sure that if you are having anybody come into the property, that you, as the listing agent and broker, are responsible, that you follow the guidelines as set out in the PPE, and then everybody needs to sign a PED. Fortunately, we were able to salvage that listing because of an offer came in early that day, but the seller was pissed. And that created a very volatile relationship with that listing agent and that seller. But I was able to step in and help smooth it over. But who knows what the relationship will be moving forward. And I know there's a lot of guidelines that have been set forth, and there's so much information. The best thing is to read the best practices that's put out by CAR and understand that document and what you're held accountable to as the listing agent and listing broker. And the biggest question I get is providing the PPE equipment to thoroughly clean the property. Yes, that does fall back on the listing agent and the broker. So if that's not provided, and down the road there could be a case, and we don't want to be the test case where we're defending it. So I guess to sum it all up is just make sure you're all following the guidelines that we've laid out and the information we've given you, because we don't know what the future will hold in regards to, shall I call them, lawyers that like to make cases and are now going to use this as an income stream for them.
We'll probably see commercials that say, have you had a buyer in your home?
Yeah, you will probably see that. More so, we're vested to protect the sellers, and CAR has given us guidelines to do that. So if you have any questions, by all means, please feel free to reach out to me and Mark, and we have everything uploaded and 24/7, not 24/7, but we're making sure we're updating as much as possible. This will be our modus operandi moving forward, and we don't see an end to it. We might see an end to some of the best practices, but what that means and what it looks like, CAR is fighting for us to have that happen, but it's all dependent upon what the state and the governor's office is doing. So that's it. See you guys today. You all have a great day, and let's get on with the meeting.
Love it, love it. Well, thank you for those updates. And just in regards to upcoming events and trainings that keep on going on, just make sure that you're staying on top of the calendar. Evie, I think, is either creating or has created a little video on where to go for that information as far as the updated calendars. So slight little thing, I got a few texts, right, that they were like, wait, where's scripts? Obviously, we canceled scripts to focus on Ashley's Come Together series for today. So just make sure to stay on top of that as well, because we're going to do our best to keep the communication open on Facebook, but also kind of help us out whenever you can check in from time to time. And speaking of which, Ashley, I know that the region is really talking about creating awareness with all of this. This is a year of transformation. Let's just be honest, right? Bottom line, there's been a lot of transformation, a lot of changes, and the region's been talking to us more and more about having social equality ambassadors. Ashley, do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Sure, and it's not just the region. For anybody who read Gary's email from a couple Sundays ago, he really wanted to put a task force together to address, let's just use the word address, some of the inequalities that we see in the industry and in the company. So the social equity ambassador will be on a task force that is nationwide. It's pretty cool. I did hear this Monday that regions of our size will have 2 ambassadors. So they've asked that each market center get the message out and ask agents, actually all associates, anybody affiliated with Keller Williams who really has a passion for this space, to raise their hand and apply to be that one of 2 ambassadors in the region. And I think, as I said in the Facebook post, I've actually taken calls from agents in other market centers in the last 2 weeks, from our region, whose offices they're actually directly avoiding any conversation around this because they just don't know how to have it. I think it's just so uncomfortable for some people. They don't know how to have the conversation. And when I look at our agents and the people who I've communicated with and who have reached out to me within our office, oh my gosh, we could lead the entire company just from our market center, in my humble opinion. So I hope we have several people who say, you know what, I really want to make a difference. Keller Williams is an amazing company, always has felt very inclusive to me, but certainly we have blind spots. And I think it's going to take a group of really powerful, committed, courageous people to move us into that next level of inclusiveness. And we've had a lot of Keller Williams leaders say, we're such a big real estate company. If the world's going to change, maybe it needs to start here. So the vision for this is pretty big. So if you're interested, if that's something that you would like to dedicate some time to, please get the application in. I posted it. Stephen or I have to write a recommendation letter, and tomorrow, I believe at 10 a.m. is the deadline. So get working on it.
Love it. Love it. So yeah, this is meant to create the everlasting change. And yeah, we've got a huge voice, especially in real estate, and it just starts there in regards to awareness. So please, if you're passionate about this is something that you really feel like you'd want to pursue, let us know how we can support you in that, by all means.
And we have that for the regional and national level, but I do know, and I don't want to disclose any details because I don't know that we have that many details, but we'll have some things going on very locally in our market center also that have already been put in the works. So there'll be lots of opportunity to get in the mix.
Love it. Love it. All right, cool. Well, we have a few special guests, and one that I would like to turn over to Kelly Anderson for our SMP, our Strategic Marketing Partner Spotlight. SD Home Stylist. Kelly, welcome and talk to us.
Well, thanks. I'm really excited to be part of this group. KW is out there all over. I see you guys all the time. I am a San Diegan, been here for quite a long time, but recently moved to South Bay from the North County area. And so I moved my business down this location. And so I just wanted to let you know that we are a home staging business. We're here to help your clients out. So whether it's a occupied residency or vacant property, we're here to give you the hand that your clients need to get going on on selling their place. And it seems to be more important these days than it has been in the past. Obviously, we are seeing a lot of activity going on in spite of the pandemic, but in a good way, you know what I mean? But let me give you a little bit of a testimony of what's been going on. I live in an area where we have several condominiums, and they're, obviously in the Coronado area, very high price, you can imagine. But we had 3 that went on sale last week that just seemed to be right along on each other. And so we have 4 units that are on sale on the water. And so out of those 4, I have, there were 1 that was staged, and then 2 that were vacant, but wished not to do any staging, and then 1 who was occupied and did not want to do any staging with their current items. They just kept it as it is. The stage 1 sold in 3 days. The others, and their price was right in the mid-range. So it just showed how fast and how those buyers are looking for something that they see themselves moved into. It may not be their direct style, but they see how well it works with the staging and keeping everything pretty up to date and what they're looking for. as a stager, we want to make sure we're appealing to the buyer in that demographic area. So we do our homework. I really I love working with those occupied homes because it's so much easier to move around furniture, open up the spaces, and then add some new pieces. But that's just something, you know, it's easy to do. It also keeps the budget down low. When it's a vacant place, obviously we want to do a full-blown staging and provide all the necessary rooms, such as your living room, your master bedroom, as well as the kitchen, because that's what the buyers are looking for. Just so that I'm kind of narrowing it down a little bit, I would love to work with y'all. Obviously, I have a little Southern accent, you can tell, because I lived in the South for such a long time when I was a child. But anyway, we would love to do some work with you. And since Robert talked about how pandemic is still affecting a lot of your situations, whether it's an open house and so on, if you have clients that still feel they don't want any, you know, activity, even in the staging process, but maybe do things on their own, I am offering a free 30-minute virtual consultation to help your clients out. It's on my website, sdhomestylist.com, if we want to, you know, just to get them going. So at least they have an idea, like, what do I need to do? You know, I want to get this thing on the market, but, and then we'll just go, you know, we just walk through their house and taking a look at, you know, how things are looking, and I can give them a lot of great ideas in that 30 minutes. So that's something just to offer out there too. So, anyways, I figure like just throw that out there. Anyway, if there's any questions or anything, just text me, or you can, you know, chat me right here and I'll try to answer your question. But I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Tons of people out there, Stephen. Holy cow, you got a great group that shows up on this.
Well, it's like, well, yeah, it's a fun, kooky group, you know, and so definitely, you know.
I agree.
Yeah, and so you're gonna have a blast. Enjoy. Hang on for the ride, Kelly.
All right.
Yeah, Evie just posted Kelly's contact information. So yeah, be sure to utilize those consultations and just to see, okay, cool. Because if you're at a loss, sometimes really adding value comes down to the simplest of things. Head up, Kelly, see what that's about. So gonna pass it over to Movement Mortgage for a nice little update. Talk to us, guys.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good to see all these faces. Hopefully get to see you guys back in the office here pretty soon. I've been slowly trickling in. Just want to give you a quick update on the economy and what's going on. I don't know if you guys saw, but our Federal Reserve Chairman came out and spoke today and announced that we've been waiting for some guidance from them. They announced today that they're going to be doing another $80 billion a month in Treasury security purchases, and another $40 billion a month in mortgage-backed securities, which is huge in comparison to where we were before. I don't know if you guys remember back in like 17, 18, they started trickling down how much they were purchasing back then, and it was 30 billion and 20 billion. So this is almost 2 to 3 times as much as they were purchasing before to keep the markets afloat. And what that means to us is that our rates are going to stay low for the foreseeable future. It's not going to, our rates are not going to go up anytime soon. We're going to be in the low 3s, possibly even in the 2s. And this is only going to help our housing prices, help increase our housing prices down the road too. So just wanted to give you a little bit of update. And I know Amanda and Wes got a couple of things that we want to share as well.
Yeah, so, you know, just talking about what's been going on, changing with guidelines and all that fun stuff. So trying to keep you guys up to date on things as Fannie Mae announces it. So last week or a couple weeks ago, Fannie Mae announced that they were going to give us some clarity on how to treat forbearances. I'm sure you guys discussed that, but just as like a little reminder, if you're looking to refinance, the forbearance isn't really going to impact you too much. But if you're looking to purchase, it does. You need to make sure that you've made at least 3 consistent payments. And if you were in forbearance, you pretty much have to pay all of that money back in order to purchase, like in a nutshell. Everyone's a little bit different. So I've been getting a lot of texts and stuff about that. And every lender is different. Like that's Fannie Mae's requirement. That doesn't mean that the lender will allow it. So you have to get that clarity from their lender if they're not us, because we will always go off Fannie Mae. The other thing that's changed recently for self-employed borrowers, things have gotten a little tighter. So before, with self-employed people, we would look at the last 2 or last 1 year of filed tax returns, and that would be what their income was. And due to COVID, we would just do like a little phone call or an email and say like, hey, is your business like running as usual? Even if it wasn't, if they said yes, we would move on. That's gone. So now what they're going to do is they're going to require a P&L from the client. And that P&L either needs to be audited by a CPA, which is a nightmare. That's like really difficult to get, and it's kind of expensive and time consuming. Or we need to get asset statements that support the deposits that we see on the profit and loss statement. So for like the first time in the last, I mean, since I've been doing loans, they're actually going to verify what's on the P&L. We could, I mean, honestly, a client could have like written, I make $100,000 in gross receipts. My expenses were 20 grand, my net's 80, and like they would have accepted that. So now they're going to be verifying those numbers. So for those people who were impacted by COVID, that might price them out of the market a little bit until they file their next year's return. So something to consider. Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to keep an eye on. I will also be hosting our Agent Marketing Academy class, How to Find More Sellers in a Tight Inventory Market, a week from tomorrow, Thursday the 18th at 1 o'clock. I went ahead and dropped the class flyer in the chat window, and you guys will find the Zoom link there that you can click on and register for the class. We're going to cover some great topics, including the #1 source for listings today, top producers' secrets for what's working for them, also how to find sellers most agents overlook, and 10 ideas to get more listings, and much, much more. So we're excited to see those of you who join us on Thursday, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, the 18th at 11.
Love it. Thank you, Movement Mortgage. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you,
And
guys.
next up, let's have Bridget talk to us about the Culture Committee. What's going on?
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We are 1 week.
Can't hear you, Bridge.
Very faint.
Okay, let me try this. Okay, how's that?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Okay, come back to me then. I'll try to
Okay, we love you. All right. So we'll pop back. So Bridget, just chat me. We'll check back in. So all right, the floor now goes to our very own escrow company. He already got a shout out, and let's hear from him. Justin Brown, talk to us.
Hey guys, how's it going? Justin Brown, A+ Escrow right next door. And yes, we are in the office practicing all of the CDC guidelines we're supposed to. Just touching base back up on the paid form. As you all know, or if you don't know, we do have a concierge notary service that goes out to your sellers just right after we open escrow to assist with completing their paperwork and to notarize any of their notarized deeds that they need. Our notary is very knowledgeable with that paid form because he is having to sign it pretty much every single time he has to go into a property to do that service. So we are being very sensitive and being very accommodating to our clients' needs. Also on the buy side, anybody that's in our notary network, they're all very well equipped and abiding by those regulations as well. Just for the buy side, most of the times our buyer side notaries are meeting people in an outdoor environment like a patio or a balcony or a park. So it gives you a little bit more of a nature feel when you're out there, but it's good news. As far as the escrow side, I don't really have any updates. We're just excited to be seeing some more traffic back in the office, and always love to get a request for net sheets or any other services that we can help you out with, title pre-opens, anything like that. Always happy to help. And thanks, Amanda, for the shout out. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
Woo, awesome. Thank you, Justin. All right. I'm going to actually pass it over to Vinny, an affiliate of our Culture Committee. So Vinny, give us the update that you'd like to share.
I'm not going to speak as eloquently as Bridget is, but I'm going to try my best. Next Wednesday, we're going to have an event after our meeting. We're going to have kind of a fun thing through Zoom. I think the platform is going to be. We're going to do, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Real Estate of the Galaxy. Kind of your face, the winner for that. So we're gonna how much you know San Diego, questions like that. We're gonna play games like improv games on there. So please join us next week after the team meeting for that.
Nice. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. All right, cool. And we have a very slightly competitive group, so this should be interesting. This should definitely be interesting. Bridget, is there anything that you would like to add to that, if we can hear you?
Vinny, can you hear me?
Yes.
Vinny did a fabulous job. The only thing I would add is that the winner will be crowned Mr. or Mrs. Real Estate of the Galaxy the following week by our very own team leader, Stephen Jack. So it is a prestigious award you do not want to miss out.
Love it. Good addition, Bridget. Good addition. Awesome. All right. So wanting to also just encourage you guys that if you have any properties that are coming soon or any buyer needs, just to give a heads up, just yesterday or the day before, we've opened up over 15 escrows in just the past couple of days. So this is definitely time that things are turning around, and this is a huge opportunity. I know that some people were double ending some deals even within our own office, right? Double ending, right? Where because of these coming soons, because we're pitching it within the office, it gives you that priority access, that VIP experience, if you will, for your clients. So that's an additional opportunity that you can take. So if you have any coming soons, if you have any buyer needs, post them on our inter-office page. Allow us to prospect with you on that. So earlier I had mentioned that we have a couple special guests, one being Kelly, of course, thank you, that we've heard from. The next is Lori. And this is something that Lori and I, you can share. I'd like for you to talk about, a little bit about your background and the content that you're sharing with us today. Lori and I, we crossed paths almost seemingly by accident, and yet we seem to have a huge conversation about the value add for real estate agents and an underutilized portion of this being new homes. And I think that there's a few opportunities that we really haven't talked about much. So Lori, would like to formally introduce you to our crazy little group here. Welcome. So talk to us about who you are, what you do, and what would you like to share with us today?
Better unmute. I get it.
There you go.
Yeah. So first, thanks very much for the introduction and inviting me today. And I think I fit right in with your crazy little group. It's a little bit scary. So, but what a synergistic conversation Stephen and I had that started really from nowhere. And I don't know, it was like 45 minutes, an hour long with a complete stranger. It's really thanks to you for leading that conversation. And it just kind of reminded me that we never know where relationships are going to go and where opportunities are going to show up. So today I was invited to share with you my experience and how resale realtors could get more involved in the new home industry. Because well, first of all, I've been in new homes for 30 years, only new homes. Actually, I exited twice. One time I went to a Keller Williams firm, and that's why I was so excited. I could tell from your energy, because the entrepreneurial spirit of that organization was so fantastic. But really for me, I love selling products and I love being involved in product sales. And they're really two different sides of a transaction. I would much rather sell a home and sell a community than to sell my own services to a customer. And I tried it, but and it was really weird because I had the opportunity, because I was actually I sold several new home communities as an on-site salesperson. And here I had one in Encinitas. It was 124 attached homes, if you can believe it. And there was a break in the action. I was working for D.R. Horton at the time. And I started considering, and actually this is when I went to Keller Williams. Gosh, yeah, I'm not getting the right end of this deal and all that kind of thing. So I went to Keller Williams. And here it's perfect because I had just connected with 124 buyers. I mean, I was their interface. I got one, and it was like a 3-year-long community. So definitely at the end of 2 years, whatever, those properties start to turn. It's a perfect farm area. I'm a great salesperson. I could not do it. somebody can do it, and people do it all the time, but it's not me. So today I wanted to share with you, again, thanks for the opportunity. I do have a brief screen share I'm going to grab here. And let me go from the beginning. There we go. So my company is New Homes Now Selling, and we are an exclusive listing agent for small and medium-sized builders. So in new home sales, the big guys like Shay, I don't know how many of you are familiar sort of with how it's set up, but the publicly traded builders, D.R. Horton, Shay, Lennar, have in-house what we call sales personnel. Those people are licensed under a broker within that organization, and those people work directly under that organization. And there's a set of small and medium-sized builders in the building universe that that can't maintain that overhead because they cycle through communities. They'll build a community, and then it takes so long to build a community that there's like a 6-month break or a year break. So those people don't hire in-house staff. I've been doing what we call third-party sales, where they're contracting with a organization such as mine, or you know, with any realtor. So I spent about 15 years directly working for the builder, and then 15 years with my own company, or as independent contractor for different companies. And then I got the crazy idea that, you know, I should just have my own company. And that's because I'm not sure why, but at the time it seemed really good. But as Stephen was saying, that was kind of the chain of how I got here today. Like, why am I here? That is why. It was all about creating some synergy, some connectivity to your office and the new home sales process. We all know inventory's a little bit freaky, and oddly enough, for the first time in a long time, new home sales are starting to surpass resale activity. Usually in San Diego County, new home sales only make up about 10 to 12% of the transaction volume. And the weird thing with COVID is, you know, that frightening going in other houses, and you guys are experiencing it firsthand. So made it where the new home offices are very appealing to buyers right now. So there's some opportunity there. I wanted to give you a little bit of clarity and support today. Just as background, first of all, I'd like this to be interactive. If anybody wants any question answered, or why is it like that, Lori, or I hate that, Lori, or whatever, you know, I have my plan, but I'd much rather go with yours. So if something happens along the way that sparks something, hey, please speak up. I'm happy to, and would really love the engagement. But just as a little bit of background, just like realtors have support groups like SAR, CAR, and NAR. The Building Industry Association has the same sort of organizational setup. So we have a BIA, which would be a local building industry association. Then we have a California Building Industry Association. And then we have a national association of home builders. Now, many of us are members of both, but just so you know, builder members are at the BIA. That's where they hang out. And this is where I see the opportunity of us working together. And again, it's not me. I'm really here more as an industry advocate. If there's anything I can do in particular, I'll be happy to do it. But the way I see new homes, and I'm passionate about it, is the way you can connect is, first of all, get involved in that industry. I don't know if I had my advocacy slide. Did I do it there? You know, one of the, the purpose, I was gonna say, so I did want to bring this up on the advocacy matters. I'm sure you know that CAR and NAR and SAR heavily financially supported Proposition A, which was fundamental to making sure that we got more houses built. And BIA and the National Association of Home Builders participated in that. As a matter of fact, the National Association gave us locally, I don't know, $50,000 or $75,000 to contribute to that campaign, which is, like I say, a shared purpose for the both of us. So to me, the synergy of us working together and you being a part of the new homes industry is that these homes are built, and number one, of course, you can sell them. And then number two is it creates a future inventory for you that at some point, you know, this is going to be your new listing. And then of course, the new home community as a whole is going to be your future farm. So there's no reason to start at the end. We might as well start at the beginning when the house is born, have you become attached to that product and that knowledge, and you know, make it, give it longer legs for your own career. I thought I'd share with you a little bit of information on the San Diego and Imperial County, how new home sales are tracking. So this is how we measure things. You know, we as an industry have open houses 7 days a week. So, you know, our sales offices are staffed, and most of them have been staffed to some level, even through COVID, mostly on a by appointment basis. So our traffic numbers are substantially down. Most of the time, we were looking at around 50 to 60 people through a sales office to make one sale. And you can see on this week here, the current week, this is last week, the traffic to sales ratio was 15. So our traffic is quite a bit lower, but we're still having some great, actually, I mean, look at this a year ago. We had double the traffic on average and still only one sale. So the people, you know, that are coming into the office are very motivated to move. It's been freaky surprising how motivated buyers are. And sometimes it's only in our own head that we're thinking the consequences of this terrible pandemic are what they are, because you get out into the universe and start experiencing something from a buyer's want, and it's like, wow, these guys are so happy to be buying this new home. So anyway, there's the different geographic areas, and you can see that our averages overall are higher than last year. Our number of projects are down, but this does go up and down about 10%. So, you know, when a new community sells out, another one will start later. This is not an influx. The 90 is not an influx of the market.
Lori, can I ask a question?
Sure.
With 90 projects, how many housing units roughly is that representing?
Oh, geez, big question. I didn't do that math, and it's probably somewhere on this report. You know, I think what our estimate, what BIA estimates that we would deliver this year is 3,000, which is way, way below, you know, our, well, I think it's 8,900 minimum units we need to just sustain.
Well, that's interesting, just for perspective. Right now on our total resale market, we're only at about 4,200. So new homes, not that far behind what's available for resale.
Right. I don't think that 90 projects is, so those are communities again. So remember that a community, I have a 217 unit community that we've only released 20. So those homes are not all on the market either. But sure. Yeah, so we're expecting, I think, about 3,000 altogether. But then you can see, I don't know if I can make it smaller or scroll it or whatever. But anyway, our year to date is actually trending perfectly fine. It's the dark blue line here, and everything's peachy in that regard. So, and you never know exactly what's happening. The bigger challenge is on the upper end of the market. And again, this is where the synergy is, because those people are contingent, right? They got to sell that home in order to move. And that has caused a stall in the new home marketplace, that inability to sell the transitioning property. That's really been our only hiccup, is on the resale side. This is just a sample, and this is to tell you about where you fit in and what a great role you play in this is my community, but it does show you here, this is a fantastic, look at this. We had 42 sales in 16 weeks. This is the actually fastest selling community in South County. We sell 2.65 homes a week there. But check this out. You can see from the sourcing down there, 78% of our sales are broker sourced. So this is really important when people are struggling or challenged, or maybe whatever the word is. As industry shifts, you should take advantage of the opportunity to sell a new home. And right now at this community, 78% of 42 sales we've paid a broker on as a buyer referral. And this is above industry average. So generally when we're putting together a magical budget for a community, we estimate around 50 or 60% broker participation. And most communities in San Diego right now are at the 70 to 75% range. So in order to engage you in those homes, what I'd like to see you do is engage with the Building Industry Association. There you meet the people, you meet the projects, you just get to know more about the industry. Of course, like I mentioned, the advocacy is a great pathway to, depending upon what you want to do, like there's a lot of land people out in the universe right now as well. So if you want to sell land for development, I'll help you. And but this is also where you will meet people. And if you prefer listing, if you prefer the listing side, there's been some recommendations that so for my own communities, I have a contract with my sellers that it has to be me, only me, or one of my licensed people that represent that community. So I cannot invite another realtor, no matter their very good talent or anything, to show one of our homes or be involved in it from a seller perspective. So that's not something I can do, but I definitely, by connecting with builders, they do have opportunities for one-offs or two-offs. This is when communities are closing out. They need to take their salesperson and plop them somewhere else, and they've got 2 homes left. Hey, they frequently will offer those to resale realtors. And then of course, just showing and selling homes is the other way to participate in the industry. And just for a little bit of clarity, I mean, I wanted to kind of take this on. If anybody's had an experience here with showing a home or working with a new home community, I wanted to hear if there was any challenges that we wanted to discuss. For us, I can't speak for every builder in the world, but I've hung around builders a lot, worked with a lot of, you register your client, you got to get them connected with the builder preferred lender. It's not that they don't like other lenders. It's usually related to the project financing and trying to manage, say, 50 open escrows at one time. And then it's a builder contract.
Lori, so if I may chime in, and this is just kind of like, and thank you so much for, the stats behind this and helping us understand the new construction community and what's going on. If we have a buyer that is, for whatever reason, maybe they're interested in one of your new home communities and they might have some hesitation in regards to, working with the builder's preferred lender, what type of like talking points can our agents use to really facilitate and assure the client that, it'll be okay?
Yes, and that is such a skill set to be able to do that, because we do understand, all of our teams understand that frequently there's been a relationship started before you arrived at our office, and you look like the breakup queen or king, right? And that's of course not what you're wanting to do. But if we can understand from the perspective of a business that new home communities are a business, and businesses have rules. And so what I would just talk to the buyer about is they need to validate. So we're taking the home off the market. And again, I showed you our traffic numbers. Understand if we're going to take that home off the market for a buyer. And it's not about trust and not about relationship. It's about really abiding by what our seller's bank, what everybody wants us to do. Is this a qualified buyer per our own regulations? Now remember, like at that community, we have Milla Roos, we have HOA dues, we have so we know what the fee schedule is in terms of the transaction costs, which are often, you know, it's usually not split down the middle. There's a whole bunch of things that are different. So when we get them qualified, we understand that it's qualified according to really what we're offering to sell. And the other thing, depending upon when people buy, we want to allow for people's overqualification in the event that they want to get some options or something like that. People can always use their own lender though, Stephen. So that's, you can always use your lender. The rule is that you have to get pre-qualified, and frequently most builders will have an incentive. The incentive is about managing the escrow nine times out of 10. So, you know, our sales team, I mean, sometimes you'll have a backlog of 100 different because of construction cycle. And if you're just talking to 2 lenders about those 100 transactions, you know, it's just a little bit more effective. But is there anything that you've heard besides lending, you know, about, God, I'm never going to sell a new home because they suck, or I don't know what?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Can I make a comment? This is Linda. I love selling new homes. I currently have 2 with Toll Brothers, another one with Lennar, and another one with California Community. I don't know, California, it's in San Marcos. So I have 4. My question is, because a lot of new home listings also in the MLS, and you know, so we send our listing to our clients. We suggest our client to drive around, all that. And I just want to make sure, I know some they require, you know, agent to accompany client on the first visit. And a lot of builder now, a lot of times they say, Linda, don't worry, your client can come first. You know, when we draw the contract, then we can, you know, get you involved. I just want to make sure that the community you represent is also okay with that, especially when the listing is also in the MLS.
Right. So this is all very builder specific, and this is where I have to be careful that I can't speak for an industry. I know, you know, if you're an MLS participant, that you've got rules that people have to participate on MLS rules.
Correct.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, not all builders are MLS participants. And so they will have referral programs, but it's outside of the MLS. And so, you know, this is where, I mean, congratulations to you. I hope you have good experience. It sounds like you do, selling new homes.
Yeah, I do.
Did you sell the Savita property there in Mission Valley?
No,
the Toll
but
Brothers?
actually, oh, no. Although, just, well, I don't know if it's recorded. I told them I feel it's overpriced, and with three floors plus the rooftop deck, it's just way too many stairs. So I look at it already, and it's 900 to about 1.1 million, and I just think that's too high. I love Toll Brothers. They have really good quality projects. I sold the 2 I sold is Palomar in Carmel Valley, so they are about 3 million each. Just the not price, not price, But
so I have to.
I love new homes.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, you know, to you really for engaging in that. And like I said, I hope they all go smoothly. I have many people like yourself at my community. I had another community where realtors were like 5 Pete's, you know, bring us 5, 6 customers, you know, to a single community. And of course, then you've got a relationship where they are just making the call. And remember, it's a dynamic spot, right? Because we will take a lot hold or something while somebody's getting pre-qualified, and you call that day and is the home available, and somebody's getting qualified. And if something comes back on the market, guess who we're calling first, right? Our relationships there, and go, oh, we got another one. You know, this one happened. Do you have a buyer for us? So
That's right.
yeah, this is where the connectivity really pays off.
And so for the community you represent, would you always kind of vouch for the agent as well? Because builders, what they pay to the agent kind of fluctuates at time, and we so that I mean, especially I love new homes. I just like when the commission is a little bit more consistent than sometimes at times they pull back more, then at times they're a lot more. I don't want to say reasonable, maybe more generous.
So I'm really glad you brought that up because I hear that frequently. And here's my perspective on that.
Okay.
You have to, these are businesses. These are not independent sellers,
Sure.
right? So they have, like when I have in Chula Vista right now, 126 units, right? And so before this community was born, before they laid one slab, we have a whole bunch of approximations that are made that would make the community a success. And of course, that has to be marketed to a bank. So we need to put together a program, right? These are, so they're either financed by a bank, which smaller, medium-sized builder, or they're financed by stockholders. Okay, so somebody is looking at these numbers, and again, remember, it's a business, and when we have quote unquote what I call open houses 7 days a week, and we have a full-time staff at that site with 5-7 decorated models, it's a huge investment, as well as independent marketing. So while right now, like I say, 78% of those buyers are coming through realtor resources, we also have independent marketing expenses to drive our own buyers. Usually on a community, that's 3 to 5% of the total revenue of a community. On $100 million, that's quite a bit of money. So it's really the combination that we expect to procure the sales.
Nice. Well, no, and thank you for that context. And Linda, good questions. And this is something that I'm just kind of looking in the chat box. Like, we've got a couple minutes left here. I'm wanting to make sure that there's probably gonna be plenty of questions. So just so you know, text me with any of these additional questions. Lori, we might be able to get you to do like a little video to answer any unanswered questions in this moment. But another great question is that for participants that are not part of the MLS, what is the best place to search for new home inventory, in your opinion?
Well, this is why we brought on that the BIA virtual tour, Stephen. This is exactly why, thank you for joining that group with us. And I do hope that you participate every other Friday, from 11 to 12, we're having a virtual caravan of new home inventory. And these are homes that you can go see, sell, whatever on that day and on that weekend. Most of them are getting sold within the week that we're showing them. So it's been a very effective thing. But that was one attempt because those agents that are not, or builders that are not MLS participants offer a 2 to 3% referral. It's not that they're not paying referral. They just don't want to participate in the MLS. Company decision, right? But I am here to help you. Let me know. These are my giveaways. If you can give me four people. These are, I love the books. I told Stephen I don't have an original thought. All my words came from somebody else. So I have Be Bold and Win the Sale by Jeff Shore, great book. Angela Duckworth, I don't know if you've read that one, Grit. And then this one is A Leader Shift by John Maxwell, really good. And then this is cool. For anybody that's doing any video work, it's a very cool looking microphone. It just looks like it's going to make things better for anybody who uses it.
I see Vinny getting all excited because I know quite a few of our agents are jumping into like podcasts and whatnot. So
exactly. Yeah. So all brand new. So even if you don't like them, you can re-gift them. Just let me know who the winners are.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I leave them blank. I don't sign them or anything.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You got my attention now.
Well, we're at the top of the hour, and I want to respect your time. And Lori, thank you so much for everything. Vinny, for those that are interested, you know, Metro is a part of the BIA network, so that's definitely something that, you know, again, as we're talking about the new way of doing open houses, this is a great opportunity to, you know, have those scheduled out. If you can speak intelligently about these properties, being a part of what's coming up, what is coming onto the inventory, if it's not already MLS, that's kind of your sneak peek or a way for the coming soons to provide value to your clients. So, you know, outwarming or an outpour of support for everything, all the information that you provided for us, Lori. Thank you so much. So any additional questions, make sure to hit me up on Facebook, and then Lori, you and I might be able to do like a little recorded Zoom conference
Great.
if anybody has any additional questions about
I
that.
appreciate the time. What a bunch of great faces. I look forward to buying y'all coffee, actually wine, at another time.
There you go. I want to say everybody's ears perked back up, right? So,
all right.
Well, thank you again. Everybody, make it a powerful day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.